Okay, so we're going to give a quick overview of DegreeWorks. DegreeWorks is a separate system to Banner. It feeds off of Banner, but it's a separate system. And actually, DegreeWorks was its own company, and then it was purchased by the same company that makes Banner or that builds Banner. And it's used for degree auditing, degree planning, and it's a very complex system. Requires quite a bit of attention. So it's accessible by students, counselors, A&R, instruction, people on campus. So for counselors, of course, they use it to sit with the student and go through and do a degree plan, look at their audits. Within A&R, they use it to verify degrees and to look at students' activities and stuff. Instruction is involved with scribing, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. And then at the end of this, Melody will go through and do a quick demo of DegreeWorks. So this is the main screen that we're looking at here. This is a staff login, and as a staff login, it's got tabs at the top that students don't have. Students will see the worksheet and the planner. At this time, they cannot create their own plan. Although that option is there, it's just policy right now that they don't create their own plan. This next screenshot is a degree audit. It's called a worksheet. And as you can see from the pull down is the student view. So this is what the student sees when they log in and they see their audit. It shows based on their degree and their major, which classes they need, which classes have fallen through, which are electives. So that is the worksheet. And the next one is the what if. So the what if is a very powerful tool within DegreeWorks. It allows you to take a look at different programs and majors and to see based on what a person has already taken, how does that fit into a new program. So, and from this is that you can pick the year, the program, and then just hit the process what if, and that will generate a audit showing you which courses are needed to pursue that major or program. And while we're talking about this, at the very top, there are two areas, the refresh and audit. That shows when the last refresh was done, meaning data was brought over from Banner into DegreeWorks for this student. And then the audit is the latest audit of that worksheet, which is ran today. All right, so the next one is the planner. The planner allows for building of different plans for the student, and it shows which courses they're going to take at different times. This one shows the journal science, associative science plan, and that plan is available to the student. Now, this is the area that's going to change the most with the upgrade. Once we go to 5.0.3, the planner is going to look completely different. So, and in the DegreeWorks world, this is referred to as a classic planner. In the 5.0.3 upgrade, it is referred to as a student ed plan. Okay, so how do you access DegreeWorks today? So today, there are two ways. There is the public access, and then there's a way to access it from on campus only. So within our main campus webpage, there is a DegreeWorks selection that's under the students menu. Now, this can be accessed by students and staff from off campus. So to access, click on that DegreeWorks link, and then you'll need to add in your G number, and the PIN is actually your email password. So you select that, and that will get you into DegreeWorks. So the login will be a little bit different. It will use a single sign-on. It'll be more standardized towards a single sign-on. The other way to access is from on campus within the banner.imperial.edu page. Is that there's a link It's called a 4.1 to 5 DegreeWorks web portal. And it takes you to the same place. It's just a different way to access. So next is to talk a little bit about scribing. A big component of DegreeWorks is that each major has to be scribed based on a curriculum rules. And this has been a challenge for us at IVC to find the right talent and the right place to do this. So right now it's being done within instruction. So this is a requirement. So there's a block for each year, and this is the scribing. Next, for documentation, right now we have out on our banner.imperial.edu page, there's a section for DegreeWorks, and there's guides for various areas within DegreeWorks. And at the very bottom, there's a 5.0.3 a repository right now. And if you just click on the All Docs, it'll bring up all the documents that are currently available for 5.0.3. All right, next. So before we go to the demo, I want to talk briefly. So DegreeWorks has its own database, which is separate from Banner. And so nightly, there's a job that goes out and grabs the latest G numbers of students and brings those into DegreeWorks. Sometimes we have to do that manually for G numbers that are old. So sometimes counselors will send us requests to bring over records that are not in DegreeWorks because the nightly process is not able to bring in all records. They can only bring in so many at a time. Okay, with that in mind, I'm going to pass it to Melody.
Okay, so I'm just going to give a brief demonstration on what it looks like on the front end. But here we have DegreeWorks, and so on the left-hand side, you do have the find option to look for a particular student. And so you can search either by student ID, by first, last name, and again, you can do partial by using that wildcard. So what I had done is I typed in my name and just put a C with the parenthesis, with the percent sign, and hit search, and you can find that student that way. You can also search by major, but just forewarn, DegreeWorks will only load up to 200 and it will warn you about how loading more than that would take a very long time. So just know if you're wanting to search for students in a particular major, but it's a very large major, you won't see them all at one time. You'd want to select that major, but then also still break it down maybe by last name, first letter, something like that. But once you have that student selected, you can just click OK in the bottom left and open up that particular plan. Now, for DegreeWorks, there's two bars along the top that show progress. One of is requirements progress and one is units progress. Now, depending on if they have any transfer work, this units progress bar may be misleading. So just know that. Transfer work units may have different values than IVC. English is a good example, or math, where at another school it might be valued at 3, but here it's 4 or 5. So that will have an impact on the unit count. But you can quickly see, and this is why students love this as well, they can quickly see what courses are required, if they've taken them, when they've taken them, and what the grade is that they received. And then it will also let them know if it's in progress, because the box will be blue. And then at the end of the semester, this is a place they tend to jump in to see their final grades because it's all in one spot as well. So very handy for our students. Now, DegreeWorks will always break things down into 2 blocks if it's a certificate, 3 if it's a degree. And that's because first we have the overall degree block, which is the number of units for the degree, residency requirements, and so on. Then there's the GE block, general education. So for this particular program, it's the CSU IGETC that it's bringing in. And then the major block. The major block is the requirements for that particular major. So that's why you see 3 of these red header bars, because each block is its own entity when it comes to the programming behind the scenes. And then at the bottom are the courses that fell through, they didn't apply to anything, or were insufficient because they were dropped or failed. Now, we did create another bucket here that says elective classes allowed versus not allowed. That's for when we roll out College Program of Study, or CPOS, which is where we will have students' financial aid impacted if they're taking courses that aren't in their program. But obviously, given the unusual circumstances of this year, that has been postponed for now. But just know that's why there's 2 elective buckets at the bottom that has to do with that. So more on that in the future. Now, as a student or as a staff member helping a student, let's say that they're in a particular major, but they want to see what it would look like to change their major. How would that impact their progress? That's when they would go over here on the left and click on What If. Select the appropriate catalog year. I always say if you're not sure, select the current one, because if you select older ones, the program may or may not have been around, or you may not even be eligible. That's for a counselor to let you know. But you select the academic year, the program you're considering changing to. Let's see. And then wait for this to load here, which right now it's going fast, but every once in a while it will slow down. This needs to populate before you can click the process what if. Down here, you can add additional majors if you're wanting to compare maybe 2 or 3 at the same time. You can add additional programs here, but I'm just going to do the one, business management. And it will take a look at what I have versus that major and tell me what would be needed. So in this case, I would need to take all of them. But this is helpful for students because they may not realize that they're really close to earning more than 1 degree. And so this is a great application for them to use to see what that adjustment would be. I'm going to go back to the worksheet here. So the worksheet is what your actual declared major is. And it does have to be declared. Counseling will do the major changes or submit major changes, but A&R admissions has to process them before they will load into DegreeWorks. And so that's very important in case a student said, well, I changed my major. There's a process they have to go through before it will be reflected in DegreeWorks. Now, for counselors, they build plans for students. So that's here in the Planner tab. It's going to automatically load the declared major. Very important. It does not do it off of what ifs. And then you'll scroll down and find the courses that are needed for that student. And counselors can either just type in the courses needed here, or they can actually even drag and drop the courses into the plan. It will total how many units. So maybe right now this says 7. I could put student said they only want to go part-time. So this is a good way for counselors to document the interaction with the students. I do notice sometimes it duplicates over here. If it does, just have to clean it up. And then you can select the terms. Whenever you've built the entire plan, you could name it. I had already started this plan in the past, so it automatically loaded it. Or I could have gone here and created a brand new plan, but this is my play plan anyway. So once you've built the whole plan, you can save it and pull it up later. Other counselors can pull it up as well. And what's very helpful for this is that based off of this plan that's built by counselors for the students, we have reports we can run that tell us how many students have Math 119 in fall on their plan. So I am going to switch the tab browser here to Argos. And this is the web version of Argos, which Alex touched on. I just wanted to quickly show you that path. It's IVC production, then it's multifunctional, and DegreeWorks. So this will show us a couple of different DegreeWorks reports that we have built through Argos. One is Ed Plan courses not being offered. That's very helpful for you academic services administrators. This tells you how many students have courses on their plan that you're not even offering, which will delay their plan. And then courses offered by term, and then let's pick on Math 119. Okay, so Math 119, we have 667 students that have it on their plan for fall 2020. And in case we haven't hit on this yet, but for new administrators, just know in Banner, our term codes are funky for fall. So just remember funky fall. So fall is always going to be the next year. So even though we're fall 2020, Banner sees fall as 2021-10 because it's the first term of the next fiscal year. Again, it's funky, but just know, even though you see a 2021-10 here, that's fall 2020. So, but that's a DegreeWorks report. Again, we have a couple of them. I recommend checking them out. It's been informative instruction has been running them, and it's helped us identify, let's say there's a course we only offer in the spring, but the counselor didn't know that and they put it on a fall plan for a student. This helps us catch things like that so that we can remedy them. And that's it for my demonstration.